Welcome back, boys and some girls. This game almost made me late for work, but it also bored me to death. Here we go. So I'm going to be talking about Blossom, the Seed of Life today. I played the whole game, start to finish. This is my experience with the game. First thing, this game is a terraforming of a dead planet. It's a base building game where you just take a very yellow cheese planet and make it into a very lush green nice looking planet with creatures and water and whatnot. If this wasn't very clear from the start, I had a ton of fun with the game, but it was also very frustrating. The reason that I played more than I expected this game, even though I had some frustrations, is because of the systems. The systems were a lot of fun, especially right up to a certain point, which we're going to talk about later. The pacing of the technologies that you unlock, all the things you need to build, like the power systems, later on the water system, all of these things were a ton of fun to build and to connect together. All this like base building and sort of automation, I really enjoyed those. I just want to stress one point very clear. This is not an automation game. It's a very linear game. There is one result, there's no deviation. Well, I guess technically like a little bit of deviation. You can decide how you can make your power. With wind, with water, with the sun. That's basically how you make it. So like I said, what is this game? You're playing as a very small robot. You're trying to terraform a whole planet. On your way there's going to be a bunch of research trees. Or I guess, yeah, research trees I think would be the best way to call them. There is, I think, heat, pressure, oxygen, soil, and then life, which is basically animals or creatures. And through all of those trees, you get technologies. You use the technologies, and then you progress down the bar until you finish upgrading or, I don't know, using whatever you need until all the skill tree, the research tree is done, and you can move on to the next one. When you start, there's going to be multiple skills or multiple trees that you can start at the same time. And then later on, they're going to be more one by one. Again, we'll get to it. And while you're doing all of these technology unlocking and building machines, you will slowly see the planet turn from, like I said, a cheese planet into a very lush green planet. There's a bunch of stages on the way there, but once you get there, very beautiful. And this is also what makes this game a little different from other base building or terraforming games. And I think it's also the fantasy the developer is trying to like sell to you or to give to you. It's terraforming the whole planet. You take a cheese and you make it into something very nice. And that is a lot of fun to see because you are the one doing this. It's not just watching a movie, you see paint dry. You are the one putting in the work in order to make the planet look different or act different. Right when you start the game, there's going to be a bunch of like little unlocking things you need to do. You need to mine a few resources, then use something to craft, and then upgrade your whole system. There's going to be a bunch of those very short, like one after the other, like go. You do them to unlock the UI, to unlock mining, to unlock very basic tools. And it's kind of like a hidden tutorial. The game doesn't tell you, hey, it's a tutorial. You just do those things, and then you get used to the systems and the resources, and you understand the very basic like systems of the game, how to play the very basic things of the game. To me, this is what makes it a lot of fun. All the small upgrades that you build something here and then you quickly upgrade your mining, you unlock something else, you unlock another overlay. There's a bunch of things that you unlock very quickly in a very short time. And it's nice because, again, tutorial, but also it's nice because whenever you're upgrading things, you get like small dopamine doses and it's a ton of fun. It just feels good to do very quick a lot of upgrades. And at the same time, it's also what made me want to continue. Because I had so much fun with the early game, upgrading everything and unlocking all the systems and figuring out how to do what, I had a lot of fun. So I was expecting the game to unlock more of similar systems later on that are a little bit more difficult, maybe a little bit different, but they're also going to be a lot of fun to unlock and learn the systems. And I can't say I was disappointed. I was not. So what is the core game loop? When you start, you just do mining. You start with very basic mining resources. Then you build machines. Then those machines can do two things. One, it can do research. And two, it can terraform the planet. And through all of those systems, you unlock more things by terraforming and researching. And then you use those machines and you just repeat until the planet is green and looking nice. Most of your time is going to be spent mining or crafting. A lot of crafting. And not like fun crafting. Just sitting in the menu, clicking a button, and waiting. This is going to be a lot of what we're doing. And that's kind of the main problem you'll see as we continue. The quality of life. There's a very huge lack of quality of life. I had a ton of fun, even with all those problems. I enjoyed the game a ton. And after a few hours, it's still fun. Because you unlock different things. You start with nothing, running around by like on your legs, or running around collecting things, and then you move on from there. You get a rover, and then you get a faster rover later on, and then you get a different kind of like electricity that you get, and then you get another type which is like the steam powered one. So you get similar things, but they need different things from you, so you do play a little bit different. So it doesn't just it's not that repetitive, it's just a little repetitive. And if I already touched on the quality of life problems, I kind of want to expand and talk about what I see the problems in the game being. Not insanely into depth, but just to mention this thing. So the main problem, like I said, is going to be quality of life. There's a lot of friction around the quality of life. There is no mass crafting, and you're going to need mass crafting. There is no manual fueling for storages or for furnaces or whatever you call those things that produce power, generators. Using the inventory is a nightmare to use. You can press B and then move it with your mouse, but there is so much inventory and so many resources that it's annoying. You don't get to control power. Power goes like water, flows like water. So whatever is full, I guess, unlike water, because it fills whatever is closest and then it fills whatever is farthest. Just that's kind of how it works. A lot of machines need you to stay near them and babysit them while they're working, because the timer to use them is not high that you can go do something else, and it's not low that you can just manually feed them one after the other. You kind of need to just AFK near the machine and watch something else on the other screen, so not a lot of fun. Those are also the same things that slowed me down, so to speak, with the gameplay. Like, the game could have been like 40% shorter if all of these problems and like useless waiting times would have been like just kicked out of the game. It would have been, I think, way more fun if a lot of the waiting time is going to be like cut off. And I'm going to talk about it in a second, but the developer did mention he's doing a lot of upgrading and he's listening to feedback. He's doing some more automation. We'll talk about it in a second though. But one example I want to give you is, I think it's also the main problem. Like, this is the point where I started to notice the problem with the game. When you get to the soil, when you get to plants, because in order to evolve your plants, you need to take two plants. You need to take the latest plants you have unlocked and then the one beforehand. So the last two plants you have unlocked, you mix them in a machine and then you get the next resource. Now you need to do this, I think, about 30 times if I'm not wrong, and it splits into 3 different machines. So while you do like 10, then you wait until you have the next machine, you do another 10, and then you wait until you have the next machine and you do another 10. That's how you do it. And by doing it, I simply mean you wait for a machine to drop carbon, you take the carbon, put it into another machine, and you wait a couple of seconds, or I guess technically it was like a minute, I think. And then once the minute is finished, you just put the same thing into the machine and you wait again. That's how you unlock technology. This is how you do flowers. This is how you do trees. It's not really innovative. There's no interesting something going on. You just click on a button and wait. It's simply a waste of time. That's what I'm talking about. Now, specifically for me, because I love to make everything a lot more efficient, I started to see all the resources, all the system requirements. A lot of things need power. A lot of things needs a lot of storage. So I did 1 + 1 and I did, okay, so I'm going to need a ton of mining drones. I'm going to need a ton, like a crap ton of power, like solar panels, the batteries, like an insane amount. I'm going to need a ton of storage. Okay, let's start doing this. So I did. And I started, and then I realized something, because I went traveling around the map. The map is finite. The resources are finite. You can run out of things in the game. So on one side, the game encourages you to build more things, to have everything more automated, to have everything more, how do you call it, like efficient. But on the other side, you have a limiter. The map itself is also limited. There is like red big walls on the sides of the map. Resources, you can run out of them, especially if some like things like steel, which is you don't craft it, you just find it around the map. So things like that kind of go against one another, and it feels like this is a design issue rather than just something that was very thought of. So long story short, I just stopped building whatever I started building and just kind of gave up and just finished the game. This is what I'm saying. When the soil part starts, the soil terraform stage starts, the game just becomes a little boring. I just talked a little bit about the map, so let me, I guess, expand on it a little bit more. Like I said, yes, the map is limited with big red walls, resources are finite, sure. But there are some cool things in the playground that you do have to play. Number one, there's those cool like small mini games that allows you to unlock building things like building materials or building blueprints, I guess, all over the map. You just need to put power in them, but you don't just put power into them. It's like a mini game. You have to hold the button until you have the exact amount of power that you need, and then the chest will unlock. Now the game is bugged and you don't need to put the correct amount of power. You can just put whatever amount of power. As long as it's somewhat close, you'll be fine. You don't need to hit like the exact number it says. So it's nice, but it's not fixed. Visually, how the planet looks, just amazing. Like, especially when you get into the grass and trees and everything like that. It's not like top-end graphics, insane graphics, but the change, watching things change, seeing the ice rise as you're building everything and terraforming everything, it's just enjoyable to watch that. Like, you see the results, the fruits of your action. Just you see it live, and this is very enjoyable. The environment can feel a little bit empty because you're the last robot or whatnot, and everything else is dead. Like, but once you get a little bit more animals and creatures, which is basically the end game, it feels more alive and more nice. And up to a certain point, the world did feel alive and did feel like the terraforming was actually meaningful. But like you'll see in a second, up to a point. Performance-wise, I had some FPS drops, especially as more vegetation got unlocked, and basically you saw more things, and it's just not just a cheesy planet. And I saw some more trees, some more creatures. Nighttime was a big one. When the lights come on, the FPS just tanked to like 20 or 18 FPS. It was crazy. I did not expect with these kind of graphics to jump into like 18 FPS just because the lights turned on. This was like, oh my god. There's also small things. I think I crashed 2 times while I was deconstructing something. Not crazy, I just jumped back in and everything was fine because there's a lot of autosaves, so it's fine. You can also get stuck on top of some buildings, but the game kind of has automatic unstuck, and I think the developer also added like a button to unstuck now, so you don't have to rely on the game. You can manually do it yourself, so that's fine. But beside that, pretty much fine. Just some problems, but it wasn't that crazy. It wasn't that annoying. It didn't interfere with my gameplay that much. There were other problems that were more apparent than this. So, a very late game. How it's gonna work? Basically, what they expect you to do is to build biomes. Same thing like in Minecraft, that you have already, the game has biomes and everything, like creatures specific to biomes and trees specific to biomes. Yes, you need to build it yourself, but it doesn't work the same way you thought. In my head, at least, whenever I'm terraforming a planet, after I finish terraforming it, the planet is gonna live. I can just go somewhere else, and the planet is it's gonna have water, it's gonna have plants, it's gonna have creatures. That's it. The planet is alive. But that's not how the game really works. The game really works, I'll explain, in a very specific way. You have to introduce animals by feeding some kind of a core into a machine, and if you turn the machine off, or if you take the core out, the animal is gone. All the plants, trees, grass, and whatnot also only there because you have a sprinkler into the environment. Just like a giant sprinkler that just spins around the world, and it's just basically giving life to everything. And it's the same thing there. If some creature, once the robot is gone, is just accidentally turning off the switch, everybody's gonna die in 2 seconds later. So it's not really terraforming, and that's what I'm saying. What I said previously, that there is not a lot of like, there's a point where the game doesn't really feel the terraforming. It doesn't feel good anymore. It feels like, oh, okay, I see, it's a game, I see what you mean. So I wish it wasn't like that, because when up to the soil level, like heat, pressure, ice, water, all those things were for the entirety of the planet. You start with the 0 water, and then you heat things down, I guess heat things up, and then you melt the ice, and then you have water, and it's for the entirety of the planet. But once you get to creatures and soil, whatnot, then it's only for wherever the sprinkler is running. So basically the planet is terraformed, yes, but it's on life support. If somebody turn off the switch or if power runs out, that's it. It's over. No more life. And I'm gonna do a little bit of a spoiler. I don't know why you would care about spoilers. It's not like there's a cool story or anything. You die in the end. You just, I don't know why you do that, but you give up your internal batteries for like some kind of a machine or something. Even though you can just use, there's literally a battery right next to you, but the game forces you to use your battery so you can die. So it's going to be like a dramatic ending or something, but it's very anticlimactic because like I said, you die, but then if some kind of creature that you spawned in, another animal, just boop the switch, everybody's gonna die. So it felt very anticlimactic there at the end. So what have we had here? Number one, we have a very interesting idea, the whole terraforming thing, really enjoyable. We had a lot of problems with quality of life. That's the main problem in my opinion. And I want to say here, I think this is the point to say it. The developer already mentioned, I'm going to put it on the screen now, I guess. The developer already mentioned he saw all the negative, or I guess all the feedback people gave. He started working on automation. He started working on the inventory management, all those kind of things. And I think he knows what he's doing. He has a good like, he had something good here. A lot of people try the game, and I can see why. The game is enjoyable, but it is limited by those quality of life that I don't think it's an oversight. I think it's something, yeah, it's an oversight actually. Yeah, I wasn't trying to think. I wasn't thinking. English is hard. Bleh. The pacing issues we had from the soil onward, soil stage. When I say soil, just soil stage. Those problems, the pacing over there started to be a little bit more annoying. Before that, chef's kiss, so much fun. That was the point when I was late to work. It was exactly there because I was having so much fun with the early game pacing. I didn't even notice the clock. I just accidentally, I guess, looked on the clock and I was like, oh my god, I gotta go. And I was almost late to work, but I wasn't. The developer has a whole YouTube channel that is speaking about the game. He's showing things about the game. So if you want more information, I'm going to try to put it in the description if I remember. So you can go search that, but you can just search on YouTube, and I think you also find, that's how I find it. Seems like a very cool guy, very responsive. Seems like he has a brain, like he has a good head on his shoulder. He's know what he's doing. So I'm going to probably check the game later on as he gets more and more upgrades into the game. Maybe I'll wait a few updates in order to see like how it changed, because I do think this game is a lot of fun, and I can see this game becoming like a light Minecraft. There is potential here. I might talk about it later on, especially as he introduces more and more updates, because I see a lot of potential here. If you like very linear base building games, very chill games, there was no enemies, no time clock, nothing. The only thing that you have is battery that you have to constantly fill, but it's super easy because you can connect to any port and you'll be fine. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think this is a good point to say that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, let me know why, so I can improve. I keep safe, and I'll see you next one. Bye bye.